everyone. Yeah, couple of fluffs in that, but yeah. So what do I want to talk about tonight? Yeah, I mean it's like carrying on with this acoustic theme. Really, I should have done this years ago. I mean, I've been spending like the last week or so. I'm just going to put this down for a second. Yeah, I've been spending like the last week or so, just just listening to like acoustic guitar. I found some really good stuff, but like stuff from like like in the early 70s, like groups like Pentangle and Bert Jansch, obviously he was in that group, and then obviously a bit later you get people like Gordon Giltrap, and then you're also getting like loads of unknown like acoustic players that they just don't seem to hear about them that much, because of we seem to be almost like brainwashed, if you like, that that if you play guitar you have to play heavy metal, and if you're not just playing metal but the sort of like the down-tuned gent and stuff and whatnot. I mean, all right, so yeah, I was playing in drop D acoustically, but that's not quite the same. So like I say, I've heard this has been a long time coming. And especially like when I was listening to like groups like Pentangle, where it's like this overlap of like different musical styles. Like that they got like jazz, bass, and drums, and then they got like the two guitars, but one's sort of like coming from more like a blues rock background, like Clapton, etc. And Bert Jansch is more as like a folk sort of thing. And then the singer who sort of just covers all the bases really. So you get that sort of overlap of like musical styles and musical traditions. Because I was saying this, I was saying this recently, about that I'm an Englishman, so I should be sort of related to English culture. Why should I be looking to something which is inauthentic to my experience? So taking sort of like jazz and blues back to its sort of European folk origins, you do unearth like a lot of like it's like a real sort of rich seam of stuff which very few people seem to be looking at now. Of course, like in the early 70s, I don't know if you'd actually call Pentangle a prog group, even though there's some overlap there, but there was all like the prog stuff was going on, where there'd be acoustic songs interlinked with so on the albums there'd be acoustic songs interspersed with sort of heavier rock songs, or like longer progressive songs or whatever, and there'd even be acoustic things in the longer songs. But for some reason it just, I don't know, it just seems to have like either just not so much died out, but just sort of just gone to ground. It just doesn't seem to be as popular. So I just feel that this that I could have actually just found something here which which I can take the stuff that I already know, and then see if I can develop like from some of what those people were doing. And also, like I've been saying recently, like well, actually, there's two things. First of all, this whole fake guitar stuff. Okay, you'll get your views and whatever, but sitting there miming to a solo, or miming to something that maybe you've recorded, or miming to a Metallica solo, or I think all that's been done to death. I mean, you always need to ask like the so what question, with things like that. and I mean, I certainly don't relate to that. You know, that I much prefer, you know, to try and give like as close to a live experience as I can. You know, that when I go out and see a band or see an artist, I want to see them play live. I want to see what they can do. You know, I want to see some interaction there. You know, it's interaction between like the group or between like the performers and the actual audience. You know, all those, excuse me, all those sorts of things. And of course, if you're just miming, then you're not going to get that. But of course, then there's the other thing about like you know, this recent PMT closure, where, you know, in some ways, you know, yes, they were selling stuff, but there's a lot of those niches, you know, like you know, I mean, even if you're you know, like if you're in the market for say like a Martin or a Taylor or other, you know, things like Atkins or Adkins, and so on. Then there's a lot of like the more sort of bespoke guitars, bespoke acoustic stuff, which you're not really going to get much access to going to sort of those big chain music stores, you know. So they didn't seem to be. Yeah. There's not. I mean, even though like some of the bigger chains do like have like acoustic sections. What I'm saying is that if the actual marketing model had, you know, like picked up on the fact of, you know, a lot of acoustic music is really good, you know, I mean really good, but we don't get to hear of it. But say suddenly like we did, would they actually change that model from selling you Les Pauls and sort of pointy Super Strats and, you know, headless Steinbergs and whatever? Would they change from that model to you know, to selling you sort of like acoustic stuff? And even, you know, I mean, even like, you know, yeah, bringing this back again. Even from like an economics point of view. I mean, this is a second-hand acoustic. Yeah, bit of a mistake there. Yeah. So this is a second-hand acoustic. So if you know, like if you were to know what you were looking for, you've got to get, you know, you got quite a good guitar for, I mean, like second-hand guitar, around £100 mark, you know. Capo might set you back what, a tenner. Set of strings that might be what, another tenner or so. Getting the thing set up so that you can actually sort of, you know, so, you know, getting the bridge taken in and everything else, you know, that might cost you a bit more, but pretty much you're sorted. You know, you're not going to then be looking around. Right, oh, I need an amp and I need some pedals, and then this this modelling thing's come out, and then there's all this other MacGuffin that I've got to get as well, and you know, before you know it, if you're doing that, I mean, like, apart from being flipping expensive, you're gonna like, it's gonna give you like major sort of anxiety issues about, I'm not keeping up to date with all this stuff, rather than sort of going back to, you know, like square one again and just playing the instrument for sheer enjoyment. Maybe doing some open mic nights, maybe doing like some sort of group stuff if you're fortunate, and just entertaining people again. You know, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with entertaining people? You know. So I don't really want this to go on, you know, like for too long. But but yeah, I mean, like I just feeling a lot more at home at the moment. You know, just going back and just you know, like relearning some of these things, and you know, and going back to, you know, like people like Gordon Giltrap and Bert Jansch, and even, you know, like things like you know, I was discovering, you know, that you know, Led Zeppelin, you know, like the Black Mountain sign, you know, that's kind of loosely based on a Bert Jansch tune, you know, Black Water Sign. I mean, all right, you can split hairs over whether it's a traditional song or not, um, but you know, I just feel that this has kind of been on the horizon for a while. You know, that like I think like and a few people are talking about, you know, like, is guitar YouTube dead and all that sort of thing. Well, not necessarily. I mean, it depends what you want. I mean, if the artificial stuff, I think that bubble is bursting, or it's gone. You know, the whole miming stuff, the whole Giacomo stuff, etc. You know, it's gone. To paraphrase Wolfgang von Goethe, nothing perishes except that which deserves to perish. You know, you may have heard that one. But you know, I think also, I mean, it ties into you know, like I've got like you know, like I've got degrees in English literature, you know, and I've got you know, interest in like local history and you know, like English history, you know, and like in Leicestershire, it's not that far from Warwickshire either. Um, you know, you're getting things like churches or houses which are like sort of like 1,000 years old or older, you know, and you're getting ruins going back to like the Roman times, you know, and you're getting sort of, you know, other things going back to, you know, like first European settlers, and then of course, you know, like in Europe as well. If you want to go back even further than that, then you're getting even older roots than all that, you know, and then you're getting like, you know, into like the roots of like European languages, and you know, without waffling on too long, because I don't want to be doing that. But I'm sure you can see what I mean. So yeah, so I've got some more acoustic stuff coming up. Please comment below. Let me have your thoughts. Thanks for watching as always, and I'll see you next time.